Before we begin this video, I recommend that you visit google.com and search for dinardata.com. This website is a great resource for the latest updates on Dinar Guru news, all conveniently located on one page. For more information, I encourage you to visit the site.
Al-Sudani announces the imminent end of the international coalition mission in Iraq. We will deal with any American president. Quote, "We have started a frank dialogue with the international coalition and formed a bilateral committee to arrange the withdrawal of coalition forces, and to announce the end of the coalition forces mission in Iraq soon," indicating that the end of the international coalition's mission does not mean the end of the relationship between Iraq and the United States, but rather the opposite. We are engaged in talks to build sustainable security relations and economic, cultural, social and scientific ties. We respect the choices of the American people in choosing their president, and we will deal with any administration, stressing that Iran supports the political process and Iraq's efforts in combating terrorism. Al-Sudani concluded that Iraq is the only country in the region that has distinguished relations with Iran and the United States. "I believe the Iraqi dinar is going to change value, and the citizens believe that too. I believe Sudani has literally spoken those words, the dinar, it's going to be stronger than the dollar. He said those things on a couple of occasions." Question: do you believe the new lower denominations have already been printed in Iraq? Marx: yes, I do. We have seen the contracts years ago and the paid receipts from the government of Iraq with Delaru to print them. Many contacts in Iraq have seen the cut sheets, samples of LDs, in banks. Parliamentary finance to employees: your salaries are secured for this year and next year even if oil drops. I was told this morning that the new rates presently put on the bank screen are not actual new bank rates. They are used for investments. After the decline in oil, a government advisor: we have the capabilities to confront the problems of the global economy. I consider this one of those wow articles. Quote, "The highest reserves in the country's monetary and financial history. Also the growth indicators in the non-oil GDP have touched 6%. Wow. I just read an article not that long ago that said oil sales are now 89% of their budget, which is good. Remember, it was 96% of their budget. Iraq is going in the right direction, but they still rely on oil sales way too much. If Iraq starts stumbling and the prices drop low for oil per barrel, then they start operating in the deficit. If it keeps dropping and gets too low, then they're going to have no choice but to devalue the Iraq dinar. Nobody said they're doing it. I'm just saying we really got to pay attention to the price of oil per barrel, because if it gets too low, they don't need to tell us what's going to happen. You should already be aware that's what they're going to do. I heard rates on bank screens are changing and fluctuating. I am hoping this means they are priming the system again. My banking contacts say they are seeing many different rates. Rates are rolling all over the place. Hopefully they are checking the system and priming the system. Electronic payments: you can get this feeling it's showtime because they're really doing the development of the reality of financial inclusion. They're spreading that financial culture around the country. It's coming, the growth stage. Alak is on TV, and he's singing like a bird with information. He's talking to us an awful lot every day about what they're going to do with this reform. He gives speech about how much money is in the digital system already. It's growing. He said at the end of this year we will implement the initial plan to complete the reforms for the banking system. Frank, the digital information is one of the main key parts of the monetary reform. It will allow your money to float freely not only inside of your country but outside. You are going to be internationally recognized. This is extremely exciting. A parliamentary delegation to visit the Kurdistan region next week on the salaries of employees. This article came out before the weekend, so it's this week. This is one of the hiccups that is keeping HCL from passing. So they are in the Kurdish region supposedly working on this, what is supposedly one of the last hiccups with passing publicly the HCL. Maybe. Finally, If we get the HCL, we should get a new value on the dinar. The head of the Special Committee for Investigating Port Violations, MP Yasser al-Husseini, considered the corruption and thefts taking place in Iraqi ports as a continuation of the theft of the century. Al-Husseini said in a statement to Al-Maluma agency, "The corruption of the ports is much greater than the stolen money that was announced and is considered a continuation of the theft of the century," noting that the corruption of the current management of the ports has caused great losses to the country. He added, "The ports cannot bring any financial return to Iraq during the next few years because of the control of shadow companies over them," adding, "No one can enter the ports company, even the judiciary, the public prosecution, and the